Wild Card Weekend NFHell edition, week 19. We got some excited fans here. We got some non-excited. I am Midwest Jet, your host. I am joined by my boy, Dames Marvs.
What's up?
Whoop, whoop. G-Man Jazz coming in from small town Iowa.
And where's he at on your screen?
He's that way.
Nope.
That way.
There you go.
Who's ready for some playoff football? Who's ready for some playoff football?
Oh, my God.
Let's go.
Oh, my God.
Let's go.
Last but not least, joining us from the beautiful state of Colorado, brought to you by Lunar Harpoon. He is the newest Lock 22 NFHell host, GOBO. Welcome.
Yeah. Welcome.
Hey, everybody.
From here on out, man. And
I was gonna say, I would say it's lovely to be part of the show tonight, but we did have some games last week. But I am very honored to be part of the Lock 22 family. It's a great show, and I think we're gonna have a lot of fun together.
Indeed. Welcome to the NFHell show.
I cannot wait. All right, let's get to it.
We're past NF purgatory.
Yeah, now we're officially there because we're done. Well, some of us.
We've all had our meeting in front of St. Peter.
Okay.
Meeting in front of St. Peter. All right, first off, NFL news. We will start with some really good news from last week to this week. It's almost night and day. Our boy Hamlin in Buffalo doing a lot better.
At this rate, I fully expect him to be playing in the Super Bowl.
Right. Did you imagine? He just starts playing in the Super Bowl.
Next year.
That's great, man. He's home. He's communicated. This is the thing that I feel like most touching about that. He reached out to the team and asked how they were doing.
Mm-hmm.
How cool is that, dude? Like,
he's a good guy.
I mean, that just speaks to what a brotherhood shit is. Like, we know that the teams are different every year, but it really is like a brotherhood, man. When you're on those teams and you're in those trenches together.
Oh, yeah.
Week to week. Just awesome. I wish the best for his continued recovery. I mean, I wasn't a fan of his by any stretch, before this, but I mean, just watching seemingly everyone in the world rally around this situation, you can't help but think that the amount of love that was poured into this helped in some way.
And he's raised like 9 million. His toy driver raised like 9 million, or close to 9 million when he was asking for like 25. I mean, things are pretty cool in that regard. The human race can be pretty amazing. So let's just
Damar, come on the show and talk about it. Obviously, that was kind of an NFL moment for you. So let's come talk about it and move you on.
Yeah. No, I mean, it's I think that it just really speaks volumes to his character, just having that team mentality. And I think that, it's scary. I think people, it's football, it's entertainment, sports, professional sports are entertainment. And you don't realize how dangerous it can be, and that these are human beings under all those pads and those muscles. So, thank whatever deity you pray to that he's all right, and that he hopefully he gets back to what he loves at some point in his career. But as of right now, just the fact that he's alive and healthy, and it's a miracle. Like, good for him.
Yeah, they say he may never play again, but if there's one thing on his side, it's youth. He's 24 years old.
Mm-hmm.
Don't push it, obviously, but if there's a chance, I'd love to see him on the field again. Not just at any selfish peril reason, but if he's able, it would be fantastic, and it would be one of the greatest stories. I mean, the guy's heart stopped on the field.
Literally, yeah.
He was dead on the field.
Mm-hmm.
That's laying it out. Wow.
Yep. All right. So just glad that he is back. Some coaching news. A couple dudes got canned. We already know of. Maybe there's a few more coming, but as of tonight during the show, Lovie Smith, VT's boy down in Tech for the Texans.
I got to talk about this. All right.
Go on.
I'm not a Texans fan, but I can't imagine anyone being happy about this. Like, okay, you have Lovie Smith is a great coach. He really is. And I feel like before they brought him in, they got rid of everybody that they have. They have literally the worst roster in the game of football. And they didn't even end up with the first pick of the draft, which we'll get to. But despite all that, you bring in a great coach. That's like the best move that the franchise has done in years, is to bring in Lovie Smith.
Right.
But here's what they did. They basically said, here's a NASCAR race that you're going to be racing in. Now, your car is a Volkswagen Bug. You didn't win? You didn't win the race?
Yeah.
Why not? What the fuck's wrong with you? There's so many instances of people being blamed for front office mistakes. And this is the worst. This is worse than Hackett, in my opinion.
Guys, this is 1 year. If correct me if I'm wrong, 1 year. Like when you interview a coach to take over your franchise, there needs to be a midterm or long-term goal, not a come in and we're gonna go to the playoffs because we have all these weapons. We have this great quarterback. No, you have nothing. What are they doing? Of course, it's the Texans. They are the true leader of NFL, in my opinion. They trade people. They don't know what they're doing.
Yeah, think about this too. They won the last game.
Yeah.
The players are playing for him. Despite how bad the front office is.
Yeah.
It's just ridiculous. Pep Hamilton, I get rid of him. He's made so many mistakes over the course of the season. He needed to be gone. But Lovie Smith, what are you doing, Texans?
Well, I think that honestly, like, even Hugh Jackson got a second bite at the apple. Like, I mean, and what did he go? He went 1-15 and then 0-16. So, and it's before. So, I mean, Lovie Smith is definitely. I mean, I don't think he deserved to get the axe this year. I think that if you look at the Texans as an organization, you don't see a lot of accountability with the front office. And I think that that's all that this was, is that they needed a fall guy. They needed to blame the season on someone. They're like, it doesn't really matter who's culpable or not. And that's why they're going to continue to not be competitive. I mean, what is there? 4 teams that have never made a Super Bowl, and Texans remain on that list.
I hope they never win one. Honestly.
I don't think they ever will. I think the team will move before they win one.
Yep.
Sorry, VT.
I agree with that.
Yeah,
VT.
Stupid.
Number 2 pick now, and it's also. I mean, yeah. They have this draft capital coming in. It's like now's the time when they can start using Lovie Smith's expertise, drafting players that fit his system. Man, we're all on the same page. Let us know down below what you think. Come on,
specifically, VT. I want to know what you think in the comments, because you can't possibly be for them.
I saw VT on Twitter. He is excited to find the new coach, but I didn't see his thoughts on Lovie, but I see he's super excited to find some young, smart.
I did. I just want to say one more thing about Lovie, is that he finally found a way to help the Bears win.
The big one.
Nice. All right, moving on to Arizona. I feel like this guy's was sitting on the hot seat for the last half of the season anyway. We all kind of knew it was coming. Kingsbury, bye-bye, down in Arizona. I mean, I'm pretty sure. I don't know about you guys, but I felt like we talked about this maybe a few times even during the year. Like, how does this guy still have a job? His quarterback, blah, 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 blah. It's not a surprise.
What I find interesting about this one is the Cardinals have already come out and said that they're going to let Kyler Murray have, they're going to keep him in the loop and give him, the ability to pick his coach again, which I believe is what happened originally. So I'm not sure if that's what he needs, or he needs someone to get him motivated to, be a big boy and, put the hours in that are required of someone to win a Super Bowl instead of just being a great athlete. Let's not putting that
Dude,
time
watch
in.
Lovie Smith go there and turn that team
I
around.
was going to say
My God, could
That-
you imagine?
that's a hot take for sure. Because I think Lovey could. I think that he gets him out of the basement if nothing else next season. Arizona's tough because I feel like they construct teams that should be good, but they don't have a very cohesive locker room. And I think that Kingsbury was a huge part of that. I think that he's a football minded guy, but he didn't build the right staff around him. And then, they gave Kyler way too much force majeure, let him pick the guys that he wanted. And, it's a competitive division. You gotta produce when you spend that much money on free agency.
Did you ever get the impression that those guys were playing for him?
Not really.
That's one thing I got from Lovey. Those guys rallied in that last game. They even came back
Yeah,
to win.
they're
that
playing
game.
hard. Yeah, I always say that too. Your team's got 2-3 wins, and you're still flying around the football, winning a game. Like that's all because of your coach. I mean, we can all say we have pride, we have whatever. Oh, my hamstring hurts. I mean, why would you play the last game? I mean, like if you.
Well, it's like if you watch the they had the Hard Knocks in season on Arizona this year, and seeing a lot of those players, it seemed like they were just going to work. It seemed like a lot of the players just really didn't have passion for it anymore. Even JJ Watt, who's like one of the most enthusiastic players to ever play the game, he's just kind of going through the motions on that show. So it's like, it's you got to have heart.
He's not a leader, no leader
Yeah.
on the offense.
Yep. Moving over to the stupidest name in sports. I guess they're going to blame their OC. The Commanders we're talking about fired their offensive coordinator, Scott Turner. Do you think he's really to blame? I mean, you put Wentz in last game.
I'll let
Who brought Wentz in and then played the rookie?
Right.
Right. To me, I'm kind of they needed a guy to get rid of.
I love Rivera. I have admired him as a coach, but I did not understand his late season quarterback choices, and I think it cost him. I never thought maybe that their offense was really the problem, but I mean, I don't follow them enough to know whether that really was.
They're just in a great division, guys.
I mean, I know you say that kind of in jest, but honestly, this year the NFC East is one of the competitive divisions.
This year is for real.
This year is for real. Yeah,
most years is pretty shitty.
Yeah, I mean the Commanders. I think that mid performance. I think it was a good developmental year for them. I think if they're going to be competitive in the long run, I think that they really need to continue pushing forward. Do they really need to change things on offense? It's hard to tell. It's really hard to look at it from an outside perspective and see where the dysfunction lies. So I don't know. I'm not like a Commanders fan. They're not in my division, so I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
This is kind of the short-term goal thing too. It's like if some teams like the Giants let their quarterbacks develop, they're going to have their lumps. Heineke, I thought was pretty decent. He seemed like people like to play for him. He had that, game factor or whatever. And Wentz comes back in, everyone's like, what is this?
Yeah,
they need a quarterback. They need to stick to Heineke or they need just to stick to somebody, but the answer is not Wentz. We all know that.
Bottom line, when they got injuries on their defensive side, no, they did far better than anybody thought they were going to do. And I know that was the case for a lot of teams this year, but they were one that I was like, there's no chance. I mean, there's no chance.
Right.
And they were
all right. Going into all this kind of news, we got, the NFL draft. Like we said, the Texans kind of helped the Bears out. Well, I guess if you want to say it helps them out, maybe it doesn't. Maybe you don't want the number one pick. But the number one pick, we got the Bears. Will be picking first. Picking second.
Here's the thing. This is the thing about that win that dropped them out of the first pick.
Number one pick.
They're taking a quarterback. The Bears are not taking a quarterback.
Yep.
We can all agree on that. The Bears are not taking a quarterback.
I mean, I think you underestimate how incompetent the Bears front office really is, but I think it's very unlikely they take a quarterback.
But so to me, they took all the pressure off of themselves of having to
actually, yeah,
start with the first pick, and they still get their guy. is my point. But here,
But-
this would be very interesting. And I think this may be where you're going, Jess. If the Bears decide to thwart them and trade out of that first pick, which is abso-fucking-lutely what they should do, because they need help everywhere.
Mhm.
One guy ain't going to do it. If they trade out of that pick to somebody who wants to get the quarterback, they want to get Bryce Young and thwart Houston. Oh, that's a game fucking changer right there.
That's exactly what I was gonna say. And Jail's the number one pick. You want it because of that. If you don't want a guy, someone behind you, you could get, if they love this guy, 2 firsts plus, maybe even, it's 3 has even happened, I think. So yeah, the Bears are in a great spot to build around Mr. Fields if they're competent and get the guy some more weapons. I don't know.
I mean, from an objective perspective, I think that I mean, the Bears, they really need to focus on offensive line. Their secondary is trash. They don't have a reliable running back. I mean, they don't have a receiver core. I mean, they need capital. It's like we talk about. It's just like, they're in a complete rebuild. Having the first pick, it could honestly be a curse if they actually take it. So, I mean, you're right, James. I mean, it's desirable. There's almost every team is going to have something they're willing to trade for that spot. So, you
guys. Look at this, okay? Who needs a quarterback more than almost anybody? The Colts. They've had 5 different starters in the last 5 years since Luck retired. They've had a different quarterback. Now, hear me out here. They're currently sitting at 4th. If the Bears traded away to the 4th pick, they still get whoever they want, basically. Right. They get one of the top 2 best defensive players if that's where they want to go. But they also have taken away, and then they force the Texans to pick CJ Stroud or somebody else.
Yeah.
This is amazing. I was pissed because Denver won and took me out of the 3 spot. So I'm not going to get Carter or Williams, and that breaks my fucking heart into pieces. We're sitting at 5th right now. So I don't know.
We'll
probably trade out of it. We'll probably trade out of it.
Drops.
Yep. Then the Kingsbury-less Cardinals get the 3rd pick,
and they don't. I mean, maybe they do.
Yeah, they're not going to take a Q either.
No. So there you go. Yeah, you're right. I mean, technically, the Bears could trade. They don't 2 of those.
This will be fascinating talk for the preseason shows or the pre-draft
NFL draft.
Pre-draft show that we do.
Yeah.
I mean, you're talking to somebody who watched my team waste a 1st rounder on Jordan Love a few years ago. So. Yeah,
I mean,
anything
is appropriate. Waste is the appropriate word for that.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I have nothing against Jordan Love. I think that he's a decent backup, but I mean, it's with a 1st round pick, it's ridiculous.
You needed to get Rodgers more, yes.
When you have Aaron Rodgers already, oh my gosh. Anyway, speaking of college players, all these picks, Georgia. If you guys tuned into you wanted to call that a game.
Yeah, his response was appropriate.
What's your response there?
He just laughed.
No, it's a joke. Yeah, I mean, it very much reminded me of if you guys watched the college football playoff last year when Cincinnati went up against Alabama, I believe it was, and it looked like a college team playing a little league team. Like the guys at Alabama were head and shoulders above the Cincinnati guys. So yeah, I mean it's tough. College. I'm not a huge college football fan just for this reason. Is I feel like a lot of the good teams are manufactured, and I think that even through the playoffs, I mean any given Saturday or Sunday or whatever. I mean there can be upsets, but I think that this is just a great example of just the inequity between the college football conferences.
Right. And I just saw some crazy stat about the SEC. Basically, they're in the national championship, they're 13-3 or 30, whatever. All their losses are against another SEC team. So unless they don't play another SEC team, they're just destroying whoever they play.
I will say this: once it switches to the 8-team playoff format, they will finally have it right, because that enters the factor of being able to lose games. I mean,
right.
Honestly, that's been my problem from the get with college football. I love it because in many ways it's more competitive than the NFL, but when you do that and you factor in, let's say you have an injury and you lose in the first game of the season, you're not going to be the national champion.
Mm-hmm.
And that was even worse
Right.
before they changed it to 4 teams.
Right.
I mean,
Right.
it was just like, how do you get up every week when you know?
Right, because if we're in a top 8, Alabama still gets in. They're probably are. I mean, again, not to be whatever.
Washington finished 8th this year.
Mm-hmm.
My boys
Guys,
finished that's a playoff berth in the new system.
I went to my nephew's wrestling meet in the first part of the game, and nice pin lane. By the time I left there, the game was over. The game was over. I don't know, somewhere in the second quarter, first quarter,
Mm-hmm.
first 5 minutes. Didn't even watch it. I didn't even watch it because when I got home, it was already like 40 something to
It was
whatever.
like, it was like 38-7 at halftime or something ridiculous like that.
And what I think the playoffs should do is 4-team SEC playoff, and then the 4 other best teams, and the SEC champion is always the winner, and the other guys are just going for second place because they're all 5-star studs, and you can't recruit up north.
Yeah, I mean, Alabama's going to have, or not Alabama, Georgia's going to have like 10 players draft. I mean, like half your team is going to the NFL.
Right. Yeah, with their 27-year-old quarterback and their every one of their receivers is 4- and 5-star recruits. Yeah, I mean they're basically a minor league NFL.
Yeah,
team.
is their quarterback older than Josh Allen? Maybe I can't
He
remember.
is. Yeah.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, he's older than Zach Wilson.
He's a great example about the issues with the transfer portal right now. Is that he transferred like from another school to Georgia, then he went down to JUCO, then back to Georgia, and then it's just over and over.
He didn't count his years. You have eligibility.
Yeah, but I also once we moved to the 8 team format. I mean, we look at Tennessee. They played spoiler a couple of times during the college football season. I know it's another SEC team, but that I think I'd rather see Tennessee or Alabama or even, like you said, Washington, Penn State. I'm looking at the rankings right now. Any one of these teams is better than Texas Christian.
Well, the unfortunate thing about the championship game was how good the championship round was leading up to that. Both those games were amazing.
Yeah, that's true. All right.
At least we got some good football out of the playoffs, but that final game was
trash, bro. Back to a few NFL things. We're just going to kind of talk about some weird things that are going on. Sean McVay, Rams. Is he retiring? Is he quitting? Is he walking away hey, man, I've already done it. I've won it. I got paid all this money. I mean, what is he doing? Isn't anybody else got any? I mean, I think I could see him retiring. I think he should have maybe did it last year. Maybe he walks away for a few years and comes back when he's 45 or
that's not retiring.
Guys, I think
that's true.
Matt Stafford has come out and said he's not retiring, so that might factor in to come back for one more year. But obviously, if he's already thinking about it now, the Rams better be thinking about another plan. And it's a hard job, guys. They work 20 hours a day during the season. Sometimes they say, or more. That's not healthy. That's not. I mean, I don't know how some of them do it, but some people don't. And he can get into the booth and make just as much money and put in half the time or less, probably.
Now imagine that you're Pete Carroll at 71 years old, putting in those types of days. I just want to throw that out there, but I'm tagging that on the fact that McVay is one of the finest young coaches in the NFL right now. And I think, to me, I don't see retirement. I see him looking at next year and saying, I don't know how I do this with what I got coming back. And I think especially Stafford at quarterback. I think I'd rather have Goff at this point.
Yeah.
So, I mean, and I'm going to tell you this right now. Detroit flat out said, what are you guys talking about? We didn't make this deal to have Goff be our bridge quarterback. We see him as our guy. And quite frankly, what that team did this year, I mean, that's a complete culture change. And GOBO, you know this. And it's probably a little scary. That's a complete culture change with Dan Campbell and what he's doing up there. Those guys are playing football week in and week out.
Right.
And like they've always been one of those teams that like I don't know if they're gonna win or lose either week. You from week to week, you don't know. They're one of those teams that could do it. But now I think they're getting the culture in there, and they're setting a winning culture, and that's cool to see. I mean,
Right. Yep.
Well, and I think that it's painful to say because the Lions have been just the perpetual division whipping boy for my entire lifetime. So it's hard to look at them and see like a functional competitive team. I kind of, it's hard not to root for the Lions because they are such an underdog story. And I know that we're talking about Sean McVay. I have some thoughts about that as well. But
yeah, please.
I was reading some analysis about Detroit's season. I think that everyone in the NFC is pretty fortunate that they missed the playoffs because I think they're coming in with a huge head of momentum, and that's scary, especially road teams. They got nothing to lose, so I think I think that the narrative will go a little bit more along the way it's supposed to in the playoffs. But with Detroit in there, that's a huge monkey wrench. So, but anyways, as far as like McVay is concerned, though. I still think Stafford's got some juice left. I know he's got some injuries that he's fighting through. I think that they really need to really kind of reevaluate their personnel needs and try to get back. But I think it'd be very unfortunate if Sean McVay leaves the game of football because I love analytical football coaches. And if you look at like the 180 he did with them when he first took over for Jeff Fisher, when Jeff Fisher got fired, the Rams were 1-15 within 2 seasons. They're got the Lombardi. So I have nothing but respect for McVay. I hope that if it's not with the Rams, it's with somebody else. Please, nobody in our division. As much as I love watching him, he's a hell of a competitor.
Well, and I just want to say that Jail's like,
Okay.
Hold on for a second. I don't want him to leave. Because I don't want bottom feeders in my division. I really don't. I love good football games. Like it's hard for me to get up again, like and watch a game like Seattle versus Houston. I don't want to see that game. It's not a game I want to watch. Like we're about to lose to the 49ers for the 3rd time this season, and I can't fucking wait for the game because there's a chance. We have a chance to win.
Yeah.
And that's the game I want. I want week in and week out to be playing the best fucking team possible. I don't understand how you wake up Sunday morning knowing that you're going to win and being cool with that. I want a game where I'm like, this is going to be fucking hard. To me, that's just a sports mentality that I have. Like,
when it makes you better,
football.
I mean, you play better competition. You're gonna be in those tight games. With the McVay thing also too, how about thinking about this? They did trade the farm. They've been doing that for a few years. And so now I also feel like their team's kind of slowly, I don't know how to say it. Basically, they're going downhill because now they don't have any draft capital. They're not getting all these new players, and those players that they picked up are gone. Von Miller's gone. Ramsey's getting a little, like I said, Stafford, Odell Beckham's gone. Kupp got hurt. Aaron Donald's probably going to retire. I mean, I feel, and now they have no draft picks.
They gave the Lions a top 10 pick.
They gave the Lions a top 10 pick. So that could also be thrown in there. Anyway, let's move on. Aaron Rodgers, speaking of the Lions, Aaron Rodgers left the field, wouldn't take his jersey off. They kind of caught that on film. I'm like, was this a setup? Were we supposed, like, felt a little like, but wouldn't take his jersey off, get it because he wanted to keep it because it was his last game at Lambeau.
I want to give Gobo the last word on this.
Yep.
So hold tight, bud. Hold tight.
All right. I'm shaking over here. I'm ready to jump up. So I'll let you go.
I watched him taking in everything. I watched his press conference after the game, and he was very reflective in both. And the fact that when asked to swap jerseys, he's like, "No, I want to hold on to this one." And in the press conference, they asked him about that, and he kind of just said, "Oh, there's just he's like Sunday night at Lambeau." He kind of played, but I mean, I've been watching Russell Wilson press conferences for 10 years, so I know when there's bullshit a play. I don't know that he's contemplating retirement, but I seriously think he has doubts about whether he's playing in Green Bay. And I've prepared a picture of Aaron Rodgers in a Washington Commanders uniform.
Oh,
That's where I'll be. That's
going
what
to
I.
the Jets. He's
That's
going to
what
the
I
Jets.
believe.
Here's why, because
I'm calling it.
he's due like $60 million if they don't cut him by a certain
Okay, but
date.
keep
That's
this in mind too.
that's
They have
gonna
an
happen.
awesome head coach, and they just got rid of their offensive coordinator. And there's a couple coordinators out there that I know Aaron Rodgers is familiar with and would love playing. So that's my take. Jas, what are your thoughts before we let GOBO go?
I'm always gonna
Making the
let
sad
Gobo go.
Packers fan face again, by the way.
I'm gonna let Gobo have it. I don't have a whole lot to say.
All right.
Don't come to Washington. Don't come to Washington.
Okay, so
Exactly. He's like, no.
anyways, this is so you've been watching Russell Wilson press conferences for the last couple of years. I've been watching a lot of Aaron Rodgers. I just got beat in the playoff press conferences over the last couple of seasons, and I have seen that like hangdog look on his face like 3-4 years in a row now, where he's contemplating retirement, where he doesn't know where he's going to play next season. He's unhappy with the front office, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Like, honestly, it's to the point. And I think that if it would have been a different player that would have asked for his jersey, I think Rodgers would have probably not been so nice about it. But he's friends with Jamal Williams. Jamal Williams is a really nice guy. He was former Packer. He's kind of a huge nerd. Everyone on the internet loves him. I love him. It's hard to root for somebody who plays for a division rival, but I honestly like, when it comes to the Packers and their future, I look at it and it's from a restructuring perspective. The Packers need a lot of help. I think that we have a lot of young talent that needs to develop, but we lack serious draft capital. We have very little cap space to sign any kind of free agents. I think that from a business perspective, they need to trade Rodgers to somebody. And it's funny, I didn't think about Washington, but who's available as an offensive coordinator is Nathaniel Hackett, who coached Rodgers for several years. So maybe he ends up in Washington. I don't know. I think Jets are a possible landing spot too. I just it's hard not to imagine the Favre, reliving the Favre era with watching the greatest player in your franchise history go play for another team. But you know what? I honestly, I think it would be better for the team to get rid of him at this point.
Who was it that said they absolutely won't be back with the Packers next year? Was it Watkins?
Lazard.
There you go.
Alan Lazard said that? Oh, goodness.
Yeah. How about Rodgers goes to the Jets, and then Cousins has had his farewell tour, and he comes back to the Vikings. The double Favre whammy. Oh my God.
That would hurt. That would hurt.
Bet on it now.
My God, that would hurt.
So you're
That would
saying
be
Vikings?
Jets, then Vikings, just like Favre. And about that time, the Vikings.
I was like,
I'm
trying to think like what that would feel like. It'd be like you see in Michael Strahan in an Eagles uniform.
Oh,
he just puked in his mouth. I saw that.
Right.
That's a good one.
Crazy stat line we want to talk about here before we get into our last week's picks, our records, all that stuff. Deontay Johnson had 147 targets this year, 0 touchdowns.
The reason we bring that up is that's a record by more than 35 targets.
Mm-hmm.
And the last time it happened, well, it's never happened, was 109 and 96.
108.
Michael Timpson?
Michael Timpson, not Michael Thomas. That's right. First, I thought like you wrote down for the Saints. No,
but that's unbelievable, almost, dude.
Yeah,
that doesn't even make sense.
It's unprecedented. It's completely like nobody would have ever predicted that. Nobody will ever predict a stat line like that again. I don't know, it's just one of those crazy things,
Fantasy owners are going crazy. They're like, that many fucking targets and no touchdowns.
Right.
Pittsburgh, obviously.
Yeah, Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean they weren't great offensively,
and Pittsburgh. Right.
They won games.
But there's plenty of bad offensive teams in the league that don't create stat lines like that.
Unbelievable. That was a good news week, you guys.
Yeah.
Like shame on the offensive coordinator, I'd say. I mean, like get the man a touchdown somehow. Jeez.
Yeah, just give him the damn ball.
It's like a Varsity Blues situation. Like the coach just hates him, so they call a different play when they get in the red zone.
How many targets were in the red zone? Yeah, how many red zone targets did he have?
To the recap. Week 18, I will go ahead and start off. I finished week 18 at a 12-4. You can check below down here. Dames Mars is posting all those for us, running across there to move my overall record to 1-5-9 and 1-12. Dames Mars, how'd you finish?
I took some chances this week because I wanted to give you guys a chance to come back. I went 10-6 still. Despite that, my 3 against 1s didn't really work out for me all that well, like they normally do. But overall, I was 169 and 102 on the regular season. Respectable. I didn't want to lose 100 games, and I won't next year. So you guys all better bring it.
The preseason.
I'm gonna be like 70% next year.
70. I'm at 60% right now, guys. I went 12-4 as well, Jails. 143 and 95 is my record now without those first couple weeks. So I'm not at 100 losses either, Dames, but
you tried real hard. You tried real hard.
And my coin toss, 2-0 last week. Upped it.
Good for you.
Yeah, my coin toss actually went 1-0. It's my first one of the year. Boom. Nice. Undefeated.
So in other news there, our guest Dane Michael of Block 22 and been there shot that was 12-4. Our players that play along at home, VT was 12-4, respectable. Amanda was 11-5, also respectable. Jason, what were you thinking, bro? 8-8.
Come on, Cracker.
That's just a terrible.
I'm glad these guys are still playing along. Thanks for that.
I want to put the.
Yeah, thanks, guys.
If I had a picture of Jason's face, I'd impose the Michael Jordan crying meme on top of it. Wow, bud, be better.
I mean, I'm pretty good at Photoshop.
Pretty good at Photoshop. Yeah.
Yeah, and we all probably lost the Cowboys game with you, Jason. Like, what happened?
Well, Jails didn't, but we'll get there.
I didn't. All right. Anyway, Gobo, did you happen to play along last week or?
I did, yeah, 10-6. I didn't take many chances. I mean, it's hard to predict last week of the regular season. I think, you never know who's going to play their starters, but yeah, I think that I picked wrong in the games that you would have expected.
Right. Yeah. All right. Well, we'll get started then. Again, all of our stuff's down below. Again, comment. Thanks. Play along this week, especially this week. Playoffs coming up. So anyway, week 18 started on Saturday with the Chiefs and the Raiders. The Chiefs dominated. I mean, pretty much.
We all picked them. We all knew it was coming.
And I feel like I'm going to go with Gobo. He kind of just said, yeah, this week was kind of like either there's some subs playing, they're not playing all their starters. Maybe the game meant a lot. So a lot of these games were probably just going to be like, yeah, Chiefs kick the shit out of the Raiders,
yeah,
right?
This was probably one of the more obvious picks this last week.
Yep.
Does McDaniels keep his job, or does he get fired?
He keeps it.
He keeps it, and they get rid of Carr, so he's got his new quarterback.
Yeah, they'd have fired him by now.
I would have fired him by now, but they're not.
Ditto. All right. Last Saturday night, the Jags stamped their way into the playoffs, won the division. A little shaky there for most of the game. BD boy didn't really look as good as he's been looking, but the defense stepped up, won the game.
I was just saying, you guys give me shit. You gave me shit about that, but here's what I'll just say: he doesn't have to win every game. I mean, why do you want Jails? Why do you want a guy that has to win the game for you every single time? That's not a team. You want actual production from other players on your team, and you don't. Trevor Lawrence is going to be fine. I mean, the tape.
Yeah, I'm not saying he played bad, but
out on him. He's good. He's good.
Yeah, he's good.
He just doesn't.
Guys, this is his first NFL must-win game, I believe, and to get into the playoffs. And like Dame said, he doesn't have to do it all. And defensive touchdown, I believe, by who was it?
Who cares?
Anybody?
The Jacksonville.
Is it the other Josh Allen? I think it was the other Josh Allen.
The other Josh
Oh,
Allen.
names out. Either way.
Yeah, it was.
Jags.
Anything to add to this division?
I mean, honestly, I think that I talk about momentum swings. Jacksonville's carrying a lot of weight with them. Tennessee has been lackluster this year, to say the least. They've had a lot of injuries. King Henry's slowing down. I was Big Dick Trevor all day on this one.
Then the Titans quarterback is
I don't
absurd.
He played his mind. He played out of his mind as long as he could. I mean,
Right, yeah.
he kept him in the game.
Yep. That defense we were talking about actually did play pretty well. So, all right. Sunday's games. We'll start down in Miami, South Beach. The Dolphins needed to win. They needed New England to lose. All they had to do was beat the piece of shit Jets, which they did. It was a barn burner of a game, field goal after field goal. I wanted to get this a little lighter out to show you guys Joe Flacco. This is what I think of him. He's literally the Statue of Liberty. He doesn't move. He doesn't really, to me, he didn't care. He just stood there. Oh, I threw the ball away. I'm trying to win my he's going to retire. I mean,
that's a good analogy because he's in New York, and I wouldn't say he's a fixture of the city, though.
Yeah, he's not.
It's a fixture in the pocket.
Yeah.
Well, fair enough.
And he was a nice, pretty copper color, and now he's like gross and green.
Now he's old and green. He's overrated, and everyone who pays to see him is kind of disappointed.
Yep. I mean, I don't really have much to say about this game. I'm looking forward to next season. Again, the Jets weren't supposed to be even anywhere close to where they were. The biggest injury, in my opinion, was when Breece Hall went down. We were rushing for like 100 yards a game. Zach Wilson was 5-2, and then literally shit hit the fan. You can't run the ball. Our O-line sucks. People get injured. Then Zach has a crisis and can't talk to the media. Anyway, blah, blah, blah. I'm just excited for 2020. There's always next year.
Always next year.
You know, but we do have Sauce, Rookie of the Year, and Garrett Wilson, Rookie of the Year. So
I was just going to say, Sauce is Rookie of the Year because they're not going to give it both to Seattle players.
Or is George Jets, Garrett Wilson?
Listen, Walker is absolutely going to be Offensive Rookie of the Year.
No, Garrett.
You think they're going to give the Jets both of them?
Yeah, they are.
All right, and if that happens, it's only because it's a New York.
Or because they were both awesome.
I'm telling you,
awesome.
You can't tell me
Hutchinson from Detroit, I think, is probably in the him.
You can't tell me
between those two.
Good point.
Tariq Woolen has better stats than Sauce Gardner. Period.
They don't throw at Sauce, bro. Okay, anyway, we'll talk about this later. But here's the deal. Okay, here's the deal. NFHell, right? But our rookie class.
You're not going to get two rookies not making the playoffs. Dames, I think you're right. You made the playoffs. You got to get one of them.
Well, Walker, I think, is a shoe-in. Honestly.
Sauce's defense, dude. You can't throw at that boy. You see him against how many catches DK have?
Dude, I love Sauce, but 6 interceptions for Tariq Woolen, man. So, I mean,
we'll see if they take interceptions or incompletions.
Well, they're not going to give Seattle both, and they're not.
Time will tell.
So I'd rather have Sauce for me just because prime time.
Time will tell.
We'll see.
We'll be able to talk about it because I think they released that before the Super Bowl, right?
Yeah. We'll be able to talk about it in NFL. All right. Ravens, Bungles. The Ravens, I'm kind of afraid for this team. I don't know what's going on. If Lamar's not back, they're done. So Bengals are on fire. They're looking good, right, going into the playoffs where they need to be. Man, this team's dangerous. I mean, I think we all might have picked this one because we all knew the Ravens didn't have Lamar. So any surprises, anything to add, Gobo?
I think that it's kind of like what we were talking about before that unfortunate game with Buffalo and Cincinnati was put to a hold. I think those are the two best teams in the AFC. I think Cincinnati has a very well constructed offense, and the Ravens, they're one and done in the playoffs. I know it's not prediction time yet. They're even with Lamar, I don't think they're competitive.
So let's look at this potential rematch of the game that never was. I mean, that will be must see TV if that happens.
Yeah,
and we will see tomorrow on the field, not playing, but there for the emotional support, and that will blow
I'm
people's
talking about an
minds.
emotional boost.
Guys, the Bengals could be one of they're probably, by most experts, the third best team in the AFC behind the Bills and Chiefs. A lot of them say that. And what did they do last year? They made it. And they're kind of getting overlooked as with the other powerhouse teams in the AFC. So Joe Burrow, man, he's clutch. We'll see what they can do.
It's the market that they're in.
Yeah, that Burrow Chase connection, the two LSU guys, like they're just smoking.
Yeah. And they're kind of like one of those stories that we're talking about underdogs. It's like the Bungles, it'd be if a team's going to win it, like you don't really it'd be cool to see the Bengals. Like, why not?
Yeah.
All right. And they're back-to-back Super Bowls, which is crazy for a Super Bowl loser. They're this good. Usually there's that little hangover. And Pats, Bills. The Patriots needed to win. They didn't, thank God. And the Bills returned the opening kickoff. I thought that was pretty poetic, right? First game back after your boy, and then take that shit to the house. I mean, that place was electric. So I'm glad the Bills won twice. Yeah, twice. And and then also there was some, there's all these crazy things, like there was 3 minutes left. There was like all these things that just coincide with the number 3, which
last man to do that, Leon Washington.
And he's both of our boys. I love
yeah,
Leon. Yeah,
but he did it for Seattle, so
yeah, that's true. Yeah, I mean, I think he made the Pro Bowl for the Jets, then left and went to you.
I will say this: before the end of that game, Mac Jones was balling out.
Yeah,
probably one of his better games.
He shows signs of promise. I still think he's overrated. I don't think he's starter quality in the NFL.
No, me neither. I think people are starting to catch on to what he can. Yeah, I don't think he's that good either. Next game, division rival game. Fields didn't end up playing. I think maybe James Mars might have picked him because he thought he was playing at the time. No, you didn't. Okay. But Vikings, Bears, not a big shock here. A lot of people were sitting for them. The Vikings needed to win, just to make sure in case the Eagles lost. But I mean,
yeah,
get it in. They're already.
Nothing really to say about this game.
Nothing really to say about this game.
One is a functional football team. The other one's not.
Yep. All right, moving on. Texans, Colts. This was my coin flip. I was going to take the Colts, and I flipped the Texans. Woo! So I got to
do. We all coin flipped this game.
Oh yeah. It was the
first time in NFL history that we all coin tossed the same game.
Was it?
You could document that.
And it's fine. Lovey kind of coin flipped the ending too. He's just like, go for 2. What the hell? Why
not? What the hell? I've always liked that anyway. I love that kind of mentality anyway, because it shows love for your team. I mean, granted, now do you have to be smart sometimes? Yeah. But a lot of the times your offense is rolling, they're getting down there. Let's go for it. Let's crush, especially on the road. I always feel like end it because you might not even get the ball back. So might not even get the ball back. All right. Panthers, Saints. Another game who really gives a shit.
I don't even know who played in this game.
Yeah.
This was my other coin toss.
Yeah.
Carolina won on the last second field goal, making them second in the division.
Carolina,
right.
I mean.
What? I'm sorry.
I don't know about that team.
I thought you said Atlanta, Dames. I was like, oh, okay. You mean Carolina, right?
Yeah.
Either way, that game no one watched. All right. Douchebag Browns versus the Steelers. Now, if the Jets would have beat the Dolphins, the Steelers would have been in the playoffs because they won, Patriots lost. And then my nephew, who's a big Steelers fan, was texting me like, come on, Jets. And I was like, I would have loved to see the Steelers get into the playoffs over the Dolphins.
I still think Tomlin's coach of the year, in my opinion, for what he did.
Dave's. Dayball, bro. Dayball. Easily, hands down.
Yeah, and Tomlin's never had a losing season.
16 years.
Yeah.
It's unprecedented. And it's so funny. The Steelers, like, they've had like, what have they had, like 4 head coaches like in the entire history of the game?
I think 3 actually.
Yeah.
Knox, Tower, and this guy.
That's amazing.
Right. Yeah.
That's amazing, you guys.
It's unbelievable. Insane. Just the especially in this day and age. So yeah, Mike Tomlin, nothing but respect. If Trevor Lawrence has got a big one, man, Mike Tomlin's has got a rope around the whole stadium.
He's got a black one. I mean,
that beard is always on point, dude. That guy's just I just like him.
He's cool, man.
He's just a cool dude. Yeah. Any Steeler fans out there, comment. Tell us what you guys think. I mean, they gotta love this guy. Are you kidding me?
Right.
especially with this team. This was the tough one. I mean, you have your end of Roethlisberger's career. You're trying to get, you had a winning record. Then you bring this rookie in, you somehow still get a winning record. Like, to me, I'm just like, yeah, shit's insane, man.
He's a G, man.
Jess, go ahead, Gobo.
No, I was just gonna say, no, he's great.
Yep.
Jess, obviously, DeBo's
Double.
but you see what I'm saying. At least.
Oh, I mean, I've been picking the Steelers. Yeah, I mean, I have much respect for Tomlin, but we were a 3-win team last year. New regime, new everything. Daniel Jones turns the ball over. Blah 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 blah. And we're in the playoffs. The Steelers aren't. If the Steelers would have squeaked in, then he'd still be in the conversation. But great job either way. And yeah, I mean, they're going to keep him until he's in his 70s if he wants to. Shit, maybe he'll make it to 80. I don't know, but it'll be a while.
Yep. A game again where the team were, for some reason, I feel all of us, I'll say for sure me, the Chargers are this team where you're just like, what is going on with this team? They go into Denver and Denver wins. Like, and then this is a team like the Chargers. I was like, they're going into the playoffs. I'm like, maybe they're going to roll in the playoffs. They're going to start being who we thought that, but then they lose this game heading in. It's like
but they pulled everybody.
Yeah. Well, people started getting injured, didn't they? The Thunders got an injury in that game.
Mike Williams,
yeah.
And Keenan Allen.
Well, they've been injured all. I feel like
Keenan Allen's been injured the whole season.
His whole career.
Yeah.
Why was he playing? Why was he playing?
Makes me say fuck the Chargers.
No. Yeah, Chargers are trash. I think that the fact that they couldn't figure out their identity in this game and let Denver, without a coach, without really any reason to play, go out there and put it on them. It's I don't know.
This season though, Gobo, they haven't found their identity this season.
They haven't. Yeah, like they literally, and the Chargers, I was very hype on the Chargers at the beginning of the season because they added all those pieces on defense. Herbert, I think, is one of the premier talents in the NFL. Had a good receiving core, and then it's like, I know they sustained some injuries, but like, you never know what team is going to come on the field, and it's just you can't lose to the worst team in the league. I know that it's debatable, but I think Denver is probably the worst talent. Them and Houston are the worst talent wise.
Yep. Anybody else got anything to add to this?
Yeah. Fuck the Chargers.
Okay, all right. G-Man Jazz, you start on this one. Basically, we don't really need to talk about it because it was, again, I think the Giants rested all their guys. Eagles played Hurts. Did he play most of the game or all the game? I don't know.
Guys, yeah. Giants at Eagles. Eagles had to win to get the 1 seed, and our second team basically went in there and balled with these guys. Hurts looked rusty or hurt. The 2 weeks off would be good for him, but it gives me a lot of confidence if we can get to Philly. Not looking too far forward, but if we can get to Philly, we got our full team going against those guys. I think we got a good chance. So this was my first loss of the week. I believe I was 10-0 or however many games we've said at this point. And I got to pick my G-man, and it was a 1-score game. So yeah, Hurts was in there all game. So
all right. Anybody else got any? Nope. Okay. Cardinals, Niners. I feel like this one was one of those games too. We all picked the Niners. This was a no-brainer. Cardinals suck.
No reason to pick the Cardinals in this game.
Bye, Kingsbury.
Yeah.
That was your last game. Bye, bud. He'll probably go back to college and win a bunch of games. I mean, it's fine.
I did want to say, very classy of the San Francisco fans to cheer to chant for JJ Watt on his last play when they took him out. That was a heartfelt moment. I was a huge JJ Watt fan, so
a couple sacks, I believe, too.
Yeah.
I always remember the moment that JJ was drafted. Houston fans booed the fuck out of that choice.
Mm-hmm.
It's another reason why Houston fans don't deserve to ever win anything ever.
Right. Yeah, because he's not a quarterback. It's like yeah, no, he's just the best defensive end that in this decade.
Yep. Hats off, JJ. Again, let us know down below. Comment. Tell us about the picks. Any thoughts you have going into the playoffs? Rams, Seahawks, James Marvs. You squeaked in. Game winner. Pete Carroll, 71-year-old, running off the field. Woo!
I mean, you guys know I love Geno Smith, right? This was not a good game for him. The first throw of the game was an interception to Ramsey. He threw another interception to Ramsey. The guy is deceptive, but I'm gonna put the accountability somewhat on DK Metcalf here. He's not, for somebody that said he was gonna be the leader of this team. I mean, and I've said this on the show before, he's a mental midget, honestly. And Pete Carroll, even in this game, was like, dude, we just got 15-yard play when Geno Smith ran out of bounds and hit Jalen Ramsey like head on. They gave us a 15-yard extra, and DK almost got that removed because of his stupidity. And Pete's like, dude, the game's going our way. He's like, and even Geno Smith in the huddle, this is something that came from the press conferences, was like, this is just football, you guys. There's no reason to get this upset about shit. It's just football. And that's somebody that I want as my quarterback, that understands life and the balance of where things are. I mean, I know that you want a guy but Geno, when the chips were down and he was like, this is the last drive of our season potentially, he ran the ball and actually put us in the position to win the game. Our kicker just shanked one off the goalpost. But it's like, this is the guy I want. He knows when to play and throw your body on the line, but he also understands that it's just football, dude. There's no reason to let somebody get in your head that much.
I like that. If you play with that, I like that. If you play with that mentality,
Nothing's too big.
You shouldn't feel pressure. You shouldn't feel it because it's just football, man. I'm just out here having a good time and going
honestly,
home.
You guys know how I was like starting the season. You guys have been here with me through the beginning. I was like, Geno Smith's our quarterback. We're gonna lose we're gonna go we're gonna beat Denver and we're gonna go 1-16. That was my prediction. You wanted,
yeah.
That was my prediction. And what he was able to do with this season, he broke the records. He broke Seahawk records for completion percentage, and he's only the second Seahawk quarterback in history to throw 30 touchdowns.
Like he broke.
Thinking about all these things, like Matt Hasselbeck was our franchise quarterback for 10 seasons, and his high was 28. Geno comes in year one, has 30, puts up a 30, and breaks several records that Russell Wilson had 10 years to accomplish. And I can't say enough about the guy. I hope that, to me, he's not a long-term. I don't want him for the next 4 years, but I'm signing him for the next year or two. And if I get a quarterback in next year's draft, I'm a happy man.
Yeah.
So
he also set the record for yards too.
Yards, yards.
Well, and here's the thing:
is 10 years are in there.
And I'll just say
That's
this:
crazy.
the Seahawks are in the playoffs. Like again, if the beginning of the year we would have been, here's the playoff, the Giant, we would have been like, fuck yeah, we want them to, but are they really going to be in the playoff?
I was right there with James. I thought Seattle I thought that them trading Russell Wilson to the Broncos and acquiring all that draft capital for this next season, I thought that was them punting. That it was literally, we don't care about winning this season. We're building for the future. Russell's not going to get us into any more Super Bowls. Like, let's rebuild. And that's what I thought the season was. And you made the playoffs. Like you had a respectable season. Geno Smith.
I do want to say this. This question came up in the Pete Carroll press conference. They said, so what did you tell the guys about the reboot season? He's like, I never said that. He's like, I never said this was a reboot season. He's like, anybody that goes into that coaching mentality of a reboot season, you're setting your team up for a loss. He's like, so I never even had that conversation with them. Like, that's the one thing that I love about Pete Carroll, win or lose. He treats every game like a championship game. He really does. And I mean, sometimes the guys, you can tell they're always amped to play, no matter where you never look at those guys and be like, oh man, they don't look ready. It's a lack of talent or youth or scheme thing. A lot of different things can go wrong, and they have. But it's never a lack of playing for the coach. And that's the one thing I've always said. Pete Carroll might be too old for the game. It's passed him by, but I'm wrong. I'm wrong on that. He is our coach, and I'm happy to have him.
coach of the year, Pete Carroll.
I mean,
Yeah.
he should be in the conversation for sure.
Yeah, it was a good season.
All right. Commanders, or I should say, stupidest name in sports, at home, beat the Cowboys. I picked this game, and I feel like Dallas is also that, once again, Jerry Jones already came out right now, literally, and said, Mike McCarthy's job is safe even if we lose in the first round of the playoffs. Talk about setting your team up for failure. Like, well, if we lose, he's still a go. Like, what? Why would you say that? It's like buying Super Bowl tickets before the NFC Championship. Oh, wait, he did that too. I mean, it's just like, come on, Jerry. Come on, Jerry. Like,
Jerry's had to do this a number of times, though. He doesn't want to hire a coach. He doesn't want to fire a coach. And this is their best season in like 20 years, dude. So I'm comfortable with him saying that.
I mean, they went 13-3 in like what, like 2016, 2017 was probably like the last time. But yeah, I mean, it's like, yeah, Jerry lives in Jerry World, you know. It's he even calls his stadium Jerry World, and it's a very cool place. But yeah,
I'm just kidding.
He doesn't. The Cowboys, I think, are another one of those places, or another one of those teams that really kind of lacks accountability in the modern era, because Jones will not look at his decisions and be like, oh, I made the wrong call on this guy, I made the wrong call hiring this coach or this GM, and it's. I think it keeps them from winning it all, because the Cowboys on paper are one of the most talented teams in the NFL.
Well, yeah, Garrett, their last coach, I feel like, yeah, they had some really talented teams, and he would just never fire them. Every year you're thinking, oh, he's getting fired this year. Nope.
That defensive player of the year, possibly.
Possibly.
Guys, Dak Prescott has thrown more interceptions than any quarterback in a 12-game season. I think he missed 5 games. And I picked the Cowboys, but I said this is a game where the Cowboys lose. Let's not forget that they came into this game with a chance to win the division.
Mm-hmm.
A chance to win the division, and you come in here and you lay an egg to the Commanders. It's what they do. They might win their first game in the playoffs, but they're probably not going to win their second. The consistency isn't there, and I love it. And Jerry Jones.
Oh, they're not going to win. I mean, they lose every
game.
They haven't won a playoff game, and it's like, win.
They beat Seattle a couple years ago.
Yeah, that was their first one in like 20 years.
Yeah, they really literally
literally. So yeah. So again, I feel like they're backing into the playoffs. They're not on fire. They're not playing well. They're kind of last game, Gobo. We're just going to let you talk about this one. I mean, actually, we'll probably add in a few things, but
sure. You know, it's hard to watch games like that as a Packers fan, just because I feel like we had so many opportunities to win that game. I feel like defense missed out on some plays they should have made. We didn't really take any chances. We kept a very conservative plan, and then once again, Rodgers did not play well. He was lofting the ball up there. I mean, he basically was feeding it to Detroit, to the Detroit secondary. I think that we abandoned our run game like way too quickly, and I think that we gave the game away, honestly. And then I'll just throw this out here. I talk about accountability. This is the third time I'm talking about accountability on this episode. You can't push a member of the other team's staff. Like it's infuriating to me.
Oh my god!
Because
2 guys did it, and 2 guys did it.
2 guys. Yeah, the other guy's like, "Oh, you touched my boy!" Like,
right. And Quay Walker, that was our first round pick. That's who we got him with the Oakland pick. We traded Devontae Adams for. So like this is we traded the best wide receiver in the NFL for that guy, and he's a consistent player.
Doesn't he lead your team in tackles or linebacker position or tackles? Or
I mean, honestly, I'd have to look at the numbers. I know that
Campbell.
I would say Calais is really close. I know that the middle linebacker is close as well, but honestly, like, he's a consistent player. He's a good player. Definitely some maturity issues though, and that is something that is poisonous to a locker room. So I'm not saying he needs to be gotten rid of for that, but I mean he needs to figure it out quickly.
Well, that was his second such ejection that season. But let me throw this to me is the sign of the Lions being on the rise. They were 3-58 at Lambeau Field, you guys. Going into the 3-58. Let that sink in.
Is that even real?
That's real.
Okay, so we now will rename our show after the NFL. The Lions going to Lambeau is the reason for NFL. Like,
Right.
So as a Seahawks fan coming into this game, I watched it and I was like, they're hanging in.
yep.
And the fourth quarter came and I was like, wow, this is unbelievable. And so, we lucked our way in. We did what we needed to do, but did we really? Because there's games that like I said, we lost to the entire NFC South. We should not be in the playoffs. But
Right.
I will tell you, before this game started, I was looking at the schedule and I was anticipating highly this Green Bay San Francisco matchup because I love that matchup. It
had potential. I
don't love both teams, but I love good football, you guys.
Right. Yep.
And I used to be one of those people that hated my division rivals. Now I have nothing but respect for them. I fucking hate the fans.
Yeah.
That's what I hate.
an important.
And I hate losing to the division rivals. So
yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, and it's you're talking about momentum again. Like, the Packers had a lot of momentum coming in. I think that if we find a way to win that game against Detroit, I think that there could have been some craziness in San Francisco next week, but didn't happen. It's all right. I mean, I like that the Packers salvaged somewhat of a season. I think that we got a couple of good wins. I think that Miami win was good, even though Tua was, clearly concussed. I think that, it wasn't a terrible season. But that one hurt for sure.
On this show, at one point, we're like, yes, the fucking Packers are out of it. Yes.
Yeah.
They were dead. They were done.
The Jets beat them. The Jets went to Lambeau.
The Jets worked us. That was our worst loss of the season. Like we were not competitive at all in that game.
Telling you, the Jets are. Let me turn it back to the Jets, but they're a totally different team. You have a run game. It's like anybody. Put a guy who runs for 120 some yards, a touchdown, 2 touchdowns. The quarterback just has to go, fake to this guy because everybody's anyway.
What a week in football, guys!
What a week of football!
I love the last couple of weeks where the seedings all start working out and you get to see the lay of the land for the playoffs. I love it.
That time of year again.
Jess got in before anybody, which is fucking unbelievable. Because that means we have to listen to him for weeks and weeks.
I know. All right, well, let's get going on NFL. Again, thank you for listening, watching, commenting, picking along at home, all of those amazing things. We are going to start playoff wild card weekend picks. Here we go.
Let's do it.
First game. Dames Marvs.
All right, you guys want to talk about NFHell. Having to face San Francisco a third time and being the potentially first team eliminated from the playoffs is my NFHell. Okay? I'm going to pick Seattle because I'm not fucking picking against us in the playoffs.
Woo!
Period.
Love it.
You know what, though? Any given Sunday,
The
ball is not round. It is oblong, which means it can bounce any way at any time.
Yep.
Still not 100% sold on Brock Purdy. You're going to have to show me more than this.
Yep.
And Pete Carroll's guys they're ramped. We're missing our middle linebacker. We're missing Jamal. For the season. So our team has been massively depleted on defense for most of the year, and it's shown. However, any given Sunday, that's all I want to say.
All right, Davies Moore, here's the deal. I'm gonna go San Francisco with my pick, but I am with you. I'm not gonna be that surprised, actually, and here's why. Because playoff football is playoff football. It never goes how it's supposed to go. We think this team's gonna win, that team. Seattle is a team who's got a veteran quarterback. They can run the ball. They can control the clock. And again, like you said, Purdy is the X factor. Yeah, you're good in the regular season. Playoff football is a step up, man. Everything's a little faster. Everything's a little crazier. So Not going to say that San Francisco is going to run away with this one by any means. I just think they have the better team. If they're smart, they get the ball to McCaffrey a bunch, dump off to Kittle, Debo. Don't make Purdy win the game. Make him just manage the game. Let your defense win. That's why I think San Francisco should win the game. But again, I'm going for Seattle for you. I love seeing that because you never know. Like I said, Geno just broke all these records. Who's to say they can't go on a run in the playoffs? G-Man Jazz, who you taking?
All right, guys. I wish the best for you as well, Dames Mars, but I am picking the 49ers. I've been on this wagon for a while. Purdy has the connection with Kittle, and like you said, McCaffrey, dump it off, Debo, the design craziness. Ayuk as your fourth. They have options. They get rid of it quick. They make it easy for Purdy, and
Big
I think
balls,
it's been a good
Bosa.
season for Seattle, but I think it ends.
Big balls, Bosa.
Yep, Gobo.
Niners. I honestly, it's going to be close. It's going to be closer than anybody expected because it's very tough to beat a team, especially 3 times. Because at this point, they have the Seattle's going to come with a very ironed out game plan for this. Pete Carroll he's gonna know how to win this game. I just don't think they have the talent. I think that Bosa and that defense is gonna make life hell for Geno. And I mean, there's like you mentioned, McCaffrey, Ayuk, Debo. They have so many weapons. I don't think Brock Purdy really even matters. I think you put basically anyone behind center, and San Francisco still wins this game.
All right, there we go. Hey, James, 3-1.
Yeah,
3-1.
thank you guys.
I know. Yeah, we're doing you a favor, man.
And you're welcome.
Yeah.
You're welcome, bro. You're
Dude,
welcome.
I would
NFL.
never be like, why aren't you picking Seattle in this game?
Right.
Jess is like, I think they're a better team. Dude, are you kidding me?
I mean, I was 4 points from sitting where you are right now, man. Where I'd be watching all of you guys pick San Francisco over the Packers.
I would pick the Packers. I would have picked the Packers, honestly.
Actually, yeah, maybe I don't know. Yeah, if they won,
I wouldn't have.
Yeah, I was gonna say it'd be a questionable pick.
Saturday night, James Farms and his BD boy Lawrence get a show off at home. Division winners, playoffs. The Chargers, like we said, are kind of wishy. We don't even know who that is. Going into Jacksonville, man. And here's when you say you love football. I love the crowd. My favorite part of the game is the beginning of the game every time. I mean, obviously when you win, but the beginning of the game, there's just all that excitement. Everybody's excited because no one, it's going to be loud and crazy in Jacksonville. I'll start this one. I'm taking the big D at home. I feel like they're rolling. Peterson is a very good coach. He's been in the playoffs. He can talk to his team, get them ready to go. Gobo, who are you taking in this bad boy?
I'm really hoping that that the Jags mascot Jackson DeVille busts out that America's Speedo again, because they're riding through this one. I'd say Jags, they have an identity, and I almost called them San Diego. LA does not.
James Marvs.
Did you guys see the Jacksonville fan? This was a playoff game for them. They already had a playoff game this last week. Those fans were yoked, dude. I mean, I've been a Seattle fan my whole life, like since toddler. And rarely ever have I seen a fan base that was that yoked. And fuck the Chargers. So I'm going Jacksonville, bro.
G-Man Jazz.
All right, guys, this is your chance. This is my playoff edition coin toss pick.
Oh, you got a playoff coin toss?
This felt like the hardest game of the week, and I've always had one every week. So I'm gonna flip it. I agree with a lot of what you guys are saying with the Jags, but Justin Herbert can get hot. Will he? I don't know. And hopefully they give Eckler the ball 30 times because he can catch it, he can run it, and he scores touchdowns. So as much as I like the Jaguars, I think a lot of that emotion might have been used up last week. So maybe the Chargers can give them a run here. But heads is Chargers, tails is Jags. Flip it.
It is tails never fails.
Yo.
We're all on the
We're
Jag.
all on the Jags.
All on the foursome. Woo!
Yeah,
First foursome of the playoffs. Let's go.
Florida men, in fact.
Watch, we're all wrong.
Dames, you sure you want to keep that?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Okay. Sunday game, first game. Like we said, the Bills are going to be playing with a lot going on in their hearts. Miami's coming in. I doubt Tua's playing. And again, I hope he's not playing. Let's be honest. Not because I don't want the Dolphins to be competitive. It's just, again, the man's life as well. I feel like he needs to be thinking about that. I feel like this is the easiest game. I'm taking Buffalo. I don't need to hide anything and have any shenanigans. They're the better team. They're a lot of people's Super Bowl team. I'm going Bills big at home against the Dolphins. G-Men Jess.
I agree with you. I'm not sure anybody's going to pick the Dolphins on any show channel
Unless they pick them to win the Super Bowl.
unless they're a Dolphins fan or if they pick them to win the Super Bowl. So, yeah, are you kind of like contracted to pick these guys or what's going on? Too much Josh Allen, too much. Bills easily win this game.
GOBO.
Yeah, they're gonna like roll Hamlin on the field. He's gonna give his thumbs up, and Bills win by 30.
Yep. James Marks. You take. I mean, here's the deal. No judgment here. No judgment here.
If Hamlin makes it onto the field, that's the biggest emotional boost in the history of sports.
Yeah.
First of all.
History.
You can't possibly lose this game if that happens. However, I want Tua to play, but I want that to mean that he's healthy enough to play.
Yeah.
And I want that for them because I want them to have a chance at least. If Tua plays, they have a chance of winning this game. If Tua plays and Hamlin's on the field, no one has a chance. So I'm going Buffalo, but Tua, just get better, bud.
Yeah.
Sure.
I think it's kind of how we all are. All right. Afternoon game. Someone's not in NFHell, I guess, because they're going to be at the game. G-Men Jazz, we're going to let you talk about this one. We'll give our picks after you. Go ahead. Giants at Minnesota.
Section 138, row 10. I will be at this game with a lot of Viking fans, guys.
Oh, yeah.
I've been there before. I've been there many times, and the Giants haven't had much luck in the Eli Manning career there. So it's time to flip that. I'm there. Playoff game, my first playoff game. I can't imagine how excited I am. We have a D-line and a pressure package that is impressive. Dexter Lawrence, listen to this stat, guys. Dexter Lawrence from the A-gap, defensive tackle. This guy should be in the defensive player of the year running. 40 pressures from the D-line A-gap. The next closest guy in all of football, 13. This guy is 3 times better than any other A-gap D lineman in the league this year. He is Martindale. He's Wink's go-to guy. He's his man, and he's gonna get paid.
So you're picking the Giants.
I am going to have to pick the Giants, obviously, and they are my Super Bowl team. So let's get after them. And my only real concern would be Justin Jefferson getting like 30 targets because he usually catches a high percentage. So Giants on the road. I'll be there. And I might FaceTime you guys when we win. Woo!
James Marves.
Minnesota. That's all. Move on.
GOBO.
Okay, so I want to throw back a couple of years here, where we had a supercharged like Saints team comes into Minnesota. They're supposed to win. Minnesota has a better record, but they're definitely the inferior team. That's really how I feel about this game, and I feel like history repeats itself, and I feel like Jefferson snags one right at the end and breaks your poor bearded heart there, Jess. I hate to tell you. I was gonna say I have a great time, man. it's going to be great. That stadium in Minnesota is super cool. Playoff anything is an incredible environment. So I hope you guys win, but I'm picking Minnesota as much as I hate to.
Playoff football
I like it.
Playoff football is where it's at. I'm going to say a couple things added to this game. First of all, I did pick the Vikings. I'm kind of like James Mars, but I'm going to go against my pick as well. I think the Giants are playing too well. I went to Minnesota. I saw a backup quarterback for the Jets. Basically, we should have won the game. We were in the red zone 6 times. Our defense played well. I feel like the Giants run the ball. Saquon, Daniel Jones. I feel like they're going to control the game. They're going to have the ball quite a bit, not turn the ball over. That defensive front is going to get after Kirk Cousins. And we also remember this is a quote unquote, maybe it's not at night, but this is a primetime playoff football game. Everyone's watching. Kirk Cousins, I don't trust the guy. Never will. I don't care if they go to this. I don't trust the guy. He's not going to win the big one. He can't. He doesn't have it in his DNA.
Did you say he's not going to win the big one 3 weeks after saying that they were winning?
Yeah,
the Super Bowl?
yep, I did. I did. Yeah.
Okay.
Guys,
To
if I would have
the
told
field.
you, if I would have told you beginning of the season, Daniel Jones would have the lowest interception rate of all quarterbacks in all of the NFL, you would have thought I was
I would have believed you.
insane.
Because I would have been like, oh, they're running Saquon Barkley 99.
Oh, he got
I would have just assumed they had a different quarterback.
Yeah.
He played one game without interceptions.
Wow. Great. Right.
Exactly.
That's
good. All right.
Coach of the year, Brian Daboll.
Yeah, I feel like Saquon's a big game player.
So who are you taking, Jails? You're taking the Giants. All right.
Hey, let's also not forget we went there just a few weeks ago and they needed a 61-yarder to beat us. So it's not like we're not, ready for this environment. I mean, it is playoff. It'll be a little crazier, but it's gonna be a dynamite game for sure.
Yeah. Actually, it might be one of the better games. All right, Ravens at Bengals. Here is Lamar playing? Do we know? Is he questionable? Do you guys think he's playing? I guess that should be the first question, because I kind of feel like if I don't know, like maybe he doesn't because he doesn't want to get hurt. He's got a contract he needs to worry about in a way. James,
I'll say it doesn't matter. Cincinnati.
Boom. G-Men.
I agree. It's not going to matter, but I think Lamar is going to play, and I said it earlier on the show a few weeks ago. Probably all going to pick the Bengals. I didn't say that, but I said the Ravens coming in under the radar where Lamar usually has all the pressure. Now they're kind of that underdog role. Maybe he has been wrestling and he's really not even hurt at all, and he's ready to just come out fresh and run the ball 20 times this game and, will them to a victory. I've seen him do some crazy things. So Bengals at home, but if Lamar plays, I think it'll be pretty close. And Harbaugh is a pretty damn good coach.
GOBO?
Pretty smart guys on this program. Yeah. Lamar plays, Bengals still win.
Yep. And I'm with that too. I'd love to see it. I have a buddy who's a huge Ravens fan. I love Lamar. I just wish he would be healthy. I'm kind of with Dames. I wish it would be I hope he's playing so it's a good game. I like the Bengals though at home. Burrow, big game Burrow, dude. That guy has proven so far he can play big in big games, and I feel like it's kind of like I said, Super Bowl hangover my ass. He's coming back to maybe it's, hey, we lost. Now we know what it feels like. We know how to do it.
Plus, we all deserve to see that Buffalo-Cincinnati matchup that we didn't get.
God. Right.
Burrow hates to lose, man.
Yep.
He has won at every program that he's played in.
Right?
What's up?
7 in a row they won?
Yeah. All right, and that concludes the Sunday games. Monday night, it's Cowboys at Bucks. I almost did a coin flip on this game for the playoffs, but I'm going to let Gobo go first on this one. We'll come back to me, but Cowboys at Bucks, the Monday night, finish off the playoff opening weekend.
I'm taking Tampa in probably the most boring game of the weekend. I think Dallas plays way under their talent level. I think that it's a low-scoring game, 13-10, something like that. Tom Brady, stupid ass, finds a way. They're going to get blown out in the next round, but I think they beat Dallas.
G-Man?
I agree with you. The Cowboys they just don't scare anyone. Tom Brady obviously has all the experience. The Bucs defense has been in the top of the league all year, and home helps. I don't think they have as good a crowd as some of these other teams in the playoffs, but home playoff game with the GOAT, first round, with the leading interception percentage quarterback in the league for the Cowboys. Bucs at home.
James Mars?
Wow, I was thinking I was going to be an outlier here by picking the GOAT.
I was too.
Because here's what I think it'll be a game in the 20s. 20-something to 20-something as my prediction. I do believe that the Cowboys are playing well under their talent level. I also feel like I just want to see Tom Brady in the playoffs. I mean, like I said, once he's gone, we'll never have it again, you guys. So if this is his last season, I'd love to see him make another run, honestly. There's not a lot of teams I like in the NFC to win. Once Seattle's out, I'm looking at the AFC and crossing my fingers. But it would be awesome if they would beat Tom Brady at that point. Even if it's the Chiefs, and your stupid ass fucking punk ass bitch fans.
I had to throw that in NFL.
Had to get that in on their bye week.
but but here's the deal. I don't think this game's gonna be boring at all because Tom Brady's playing in it. Like, I'm fascinated by any game that he plays, especially the last 3 weeks. They've been on an emotional high, winning 3 games that they. I mean, honest. Well, not this last week, but the 3 weeks before that, right?
Yep.
Were improbable comeback wins, and I just think it's gonna be too much for Dallas.
See, and I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna say I haven't paid my pick yet. I haven't made my pick yet. My bad. I'm gonna go Cowboys on the road. I think yes, the Cowboys lost this week. They lost to a pretty good defense. Again, it's the Cowboys. They find ways to lose certain games here and there. I don't think the Bucs have been playing that well. They've won a few of these games barely at the end. I still don't think they're very cohesive. And I think Dallas, like you guys said, all of us kind of agree they're a really good team. I think maybe they put it together a little bit better. They played in one of the best divisions in football. 3 of the teams make the playoffs. It's a tough division to play in, and they almost won it. Came down to the last week of the season to possibly win the division. So I think they go into Tampa, and I think they say bye-bye to Brady. I think, he's been bitching a lot this year, way more than most years. It's because his team's not that good. So I'm going to go Cowboys. And my bad, G-Man, Jazz, go ahead. Sorry for interrupting.
I just wanted to ask, what do you guys think that it's coincidence that it's Monday night to give, the GOAT a little more rest to get prepared for this playoff game? I think the NFL thinks a lot about things like that, and that wouldn't surprise me one bit is why they put them on Monday night.
Yeah, I'm not happy about having a short week playing on Saturday.
Right.
The first game obviously is never the one that you want to be in, but guess what? I get to watch playoff football on my team before any of you fucks.
I mean, you win, you get it, and then hopefully you play like on the next Sunday, you get an extra day of rest.
Yeah, you find a way. I mean, it is sports entertainment. I think the NFL is very aware of that. I think they craft their schedules to reflect that. Look at this last week they moved Packers Lions to prime time just to get viewership up because it was a win and game. So yeah, I'm not surprised at all that they're giving Brady the spotlight. They want the best Tom Brady, and he's got a big hill to climb, but I think he does it.
Yeah, I look at it this way, guys. This is actually the second week of playoff football. And I will remind everybody, the Lions had absolutely nothing to play for other than spoiler and pride. And they went in and did it. And I'll remind you guys of a 7-9 Seahawks team that went in with a home game and beat the defending Super Bowl champions on Marshawn Lynch's 67-yard beast quake. So anything is possible. It's the fucking playoffs. You guys.
Playoffs. Let us know down below. Comment. Tell us who you're taking in the playoffs. Maybe you got some reasons like, hey guys, you didn't think about this, you didn't do that, blah, blah, blah. Join us on NFHell every week to make these picks, especially now in the playoffs. Exciting times. We get to talk about all of these amazing, fun games.
And before we close out, Gobo, again, welcome to NFHell. We
Great job.
welcome you the rest of the way out in the playoffs. If you can't be there, we'll find somebody to fill you in. But he is our guy next season, you guys. It'll be the four of us next season for sure, every week. And
Like I said, yeah, happy to be here, man. I love talking football, and you guys know your stuff. It's always a great convo. So I'm in for it.
yeah, and I would have loved to see the San Francisco Green Bay matchup. Jails, I would have loved to see the Jets in the playoffs. And hopefully this is the last year that I go without seeing that.
Right.
You guys have a great team on the rise. Let's get some good draft picks, get healthy. G-Men, good luck to you, man.
I mean, have fun at the game.
I'd love to see you guys take Minnesota. It's a great venue to watch a game in. They're not great fans if you win, so get to your cars as quick as you can.
Just remember, guys, Tavon Thibodeau, he's a rookie. You may have heard of him, you may not, but he plays bigger the bigger the game is. So if I don't see a sack out of him this week, I will be shocked. And, maybe a fumble and another touchdown,
All right. Last but not least, here in the Omaha area, we want to give a shout out to a good friend of ours, passed away, Lawrence. We're thinking about you and your family. God damn it. We miss you. So again, thank you for tuning in. NFHell. See you soon. Enjoy playoff football. Subscribe.
We're coming back next year, and we're coming back next week.
next week.
Peace.
Peace.
Don't forget to speak your piece in the comments section. Also, like and subscribe to Lock 22 Productions, and thank you for listening to NFHell.